Hey Jay, how you doing? Thank you so much for sharing your work here. Good job describing your experience with the assignment. I think this is really, really fantastic. It teaches me a lot about the way you're learning. So I totally disagree with your last statement that you're saying your skills are subpar. I disagree. I think you're doing just fine. As a matter of fact, you've made some outstanding decisions here, and technical execution is very, very good. What I've done here is thank you for including the JPEG. I've got that JPEG open because I would like to do some zooming. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, I think narrative quality is excellent. And the reason I say that is because you've got this kind of Oval Office image with this nefarious character with the leather jacket and the gloves, and he's looking kind of sinister. And I think that, boy, without trying to make any kind of political statements, I think all of us have experienced in our lives that there are some questionable behavior, and I'm not talking about our current presidents, I'm talking about the presidency in general. There are always some questionable decisions, some questionable things that lead us to believe that the office of the president isn't this pristine, ultra ethical office of do good and philanthropy, right? I think there's a little bit more to it than that, and I love the narrative quality of this that kind of points to the sinister nature of um, the Oval Office. And again, I'm not at all trying to make any sort of political statement here whatsoever. Let's get that straight. Okay. Um, Okay, so as far as the composition, I think it's done very well. Masking looks great. I'm going to zoom in here so we can take a good look at the masking. So we've got the guy. Good, 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 good. Excellent, excellent. A little bit of the background right here on the ear. A little bit of the original background right there. You'll have to refine that. Got some kind of weirdness up here and over here. These white. I don't know if it's a reflection or if it's part of the original background. Think about that right here as well. Looks like there's a little bit of white right there. Probably indicative of the original background. We come back down over here. Looking good, looking good. And then right here looks like that could be part of the original image. Not sure, but actually, I think it is. I think this comes down like that. So good job on the selection there. Let's take a look at the gun. Again, good selection there. Little bit of background coming through right here and right here. So you may want to adjust that gun as well. Good job on a reflection. Really, really interesting stuff here. Let me zoom back out. Okay, so my experience here looking at this is I think that, and let me zoom in to just to illustrate this, but the image itself is a little bit blurry. It's not selective focus, meaning that the original image of the president here, and based on this image, it was President Obama, right? So based on the original image, excuse me, the original image does not display selective focus. And the reason I say that is because the foreground is still kind of a little bit blurred. So it's not like this depth of field where the foreground is in focus, but the background is not, because we can see in the original image the foreground is somewhat blurred. So that being said, my recommendation to make this a little bit more believable is to take your selected items and apply a very, very, very slight Gaussian blur on those to try to, basically what you're doing is you're reducing the contrast value of the highlights and the shadows to make it a little bit more subtle to match the background. Right now, I think we look at this and we can clearly see that these have been added, and that's based on their relationship to the background, right? As far as light source goes, I think your light source, there's no conflicting light sources here, so that's not an issue at all. And other than that, I think you've done a fantastic job. So that is really my only recommendation moving forward. Also, check your file size, required file size, 8 by 10 or 10 by 8. By the way, in graphic design or any design, the width always comes first. So when you see something that says 8 by 10 as a requirement, it means 8 width, 10 high. Okay. So anyways, really great job so far. I'm really, really enjoying this. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any needed clarifications. All right. Thanks, Jay.